Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. We're going to be talking about the Social Injustice Publication Project. You get to, well, I'm going to post it, of course, but let's get to the document. And I'm going to make this as a little bit bigger so we can see it all real good. And here we go. Okay, so like I said, now that you have become an expert on your topic, we of course have to write about it in some way. Now, you know me, I'm not a huge fan of uh, traditional writing assignments, I should say, only because when we write out in the real world, we're writing different things. We're not usually writing essays unless you become an essayist, okay? But and then we always do some kind of presentation at the end of the year. Now that's obviously slightly different. So what I thought I would do is have you make your own publication. Now publication is a broad term. It can mean magazine, it could be website. I suppose technically that would also include a documentary, but for this purpose, you're either going to create a website or an online magazine. You might hear the term zine is how it's used. So you're basically going to write, and then you're going to publish that information, okay? What I am thinking is that you're using a combination. Okay, so a website template like Google Sites or Wix, and I'm sure there might be some other ones, but I know that these are free. And then you are creating content to put on those websites. Canva, most of you are familiar with. And then I also found some templates for kind of magazine-y type things out there as well. Like I say here, I'm sure there are some other resources that you can find and use. I'm not opposed to any of that. All of these things that I've provided right here are free, and I don't want you spending money on anything. So this can be done totally with what you've got. Let's see here. Two things your publication needs to be, though, is it needs to be housed all in one spot, which means you're only, at the end of this, you're only going to provide me with one link, okay? And all of your stuff is going to be in one spot, on one website, in one magazine. It also needs to be shareable because the very, very last day of class, we do have a quote-unquote finals week. But the very last day of class, we're going to do a kind of a gallery walk, if you will. So everything needs to be accessible, and people need to be able to see it, and all kinds of things like that. The cool thing about it being digital is that you can have all kinds of different media on there. On Google Sites, you can have images, memes, videos, GIFs, I mean, all kinds of really cool things. Last thing, this is new. I actually didn't create a Google site until this year when I made the social injustice website itself. I actually got that from a template. So it might be new for some of you. And it's, as usual, it's not something you can do at the last minute. Like it's got to be something that you build upon, whatever. I do want to put out there that if doing this digitally is going to literally make you insane, just reach out to me so we can figure out an alternate for you. I know not everybody has a quiet space with working internet to be able to do this kind of work. I still think it's possible for you to do in some way, but just let me know so we can figure it out. Okay, so the academic component to this project is the writing itself. Now we talked as a sophomore team, and we thought an appropriate length of writing is like 5 to 7 pages. And so I've provided that for you here. It's just in a different format. You would have written about all of these things anyway, but now you are just going to write about them in 5 different articles. So this is going to be your article writing, and 5 different things. Okay, so the first article is going to be the most kind of like news-like article. What is the issue? Who's being affected? How does this particular issue influence, or is it influenced by the country or the region that you're writing about? Who's involved in addressing this issue? So this needs to be an article format, and I'll get to that in just a little bit here. Okay, so this is the who, what, when, where, why part of your project. As an extension, you could also, in addition to the writing, you could make a little like newscast of you delivering this news to us on your very own cable news network, embed the video right there on your website, and there you go. Okay. The next piece of writing is going to be an interview, and this is somebody that, and it's in quotes because this is not an actual interview that you are conducting. More so, this is a fictional interview using the research that you have. So you're going to interview either a real or a fictional person. So if there is a healthcare worker that was all over your research, you could actually interview, quote unquote, her or him, right? Them. Or you can make up a person. So you're going to interview someone being affected by this issue. How has this issue affected them or their family? What is daily life like for them? What is an immediate micro concern that they have? So we talked about microcosm. Micro concern would just be like a concern to them and their family. And this is going to be in either interview or script format. I'm going to get to formats later, okay? But this is the where you're kind of putting some pathos to your research topic. You're showing us what this person, real or fictional, has to go through on their daily lives dealing with this issue, kind of everything along those lines, okay? The third piece of writing is going to be the history, how this issue came to be. And I want this to be in textbook format. So throw open your history textbook, and that's basically what you're going to create. Okay, so you're going to give us a couple pages of a history textbook of your writing about how this issue came to be. Give us some history because everything starts somewhere, right? I think a great idea would be to provide an infographic along with this section, and Canva's a great space for that. Okay, so the fourth piece of writing is going to be another quote interview with someone, real or fictional, who is actively working to address or change this injustice. So the first interview was with somebody who is living through it. The second interview is with somebody who's trying to change it, who's actually going to this country and trying to provide whatever resources, whatever, or somebody from that community trying to fix it more likely. What is their motivation for addressing this issue? What additional resources do they need? What or who is standing in their way? Again, that's going to be in either interview or script format. Okay. And lastly, this is going to be the most, I suppose, traditional piece of writing that you're going to do, is it's going to be an analytical essay. Think more like opinion article, all right? But you're going to take a step back and become an omniscient, right, critic of what's going on. So you basically are an omniscient critic because you do see most or all of the pieces at play here. What macro changes need to be made in this place, this country, this region, whatever? What is working, what isn't working, what next steps need to be made, et cetera, okay? All of these pieces of writing right here, they're all gonna be between 1 and 2 pages of writing each, which really isn't a lot. I actually expect most of them to be more than that. But in terms of minimum, that's what we're looking for here, because that adds up to your 5, 6, 7 pages that everybody's 10th grade year is writing. Um, okay, so that's the required bit, all right? So those are the things you have to have. All 5 of those documents are gonna be submitted to Turnitin.com on their own. Like at some point in this process, you will have all 5 of your articles on a document, and that document you'll submit to Turnitin, just so you know. But then obviously when you are cutting and pasting them into your publication, they'll look different, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so, but because this is a website or a zine or whatever, you know, when we go to a website, it's not usually just huge blocks of text, right? So you're gonna wanna provide other things on your website. Now you can be, you know, creative with this. If you think about a magazine is this, it's this thing made out of paper at the doctor's office that you flip through. Anyway, and these can be kind of fun things, just so you know. Crosswords or puzzles, memes, advertisements having to do with your issues, quizzes, connection to your own article of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I'm kind of open to anything, but in addition to your 5 pieces of writing, I also want you to have 5 extra things as well. So like 1 extra per piece of writing. Think of it that way. Okay. Now, so that's that's it. That's a lot. It's a lot, because I'm asking for you to do both all of this writing, and then you're going to create a place for it to go, essentially. If you have no idea what to do, which is fine, I've provided a lot here for you. Okay. So again, I think the easiest way, and while I consider myself tech literate, I wouldn't say I'm like some brilliant kind of techie person. I feel Google Sites is pretty easy. And all it is, you know, you going to sites.google.com, and it provides you with a couple of different options for you, okay? Again, all you're doing is it looks just like this. And look, a Google site that you've been using is our research website. It has templates just like everything else that Google has. And then you really do just kind of like click on one. This one is conveniently called project, right? And then it provides you, no, I don't care about, no, I don't. Then it provides you with these different templates here. So you can change this image to whatever you want. This is like your title page right here. There's different layouts that you can choose from. All of it is fairly self-explanatory, right? There's different themes that you can click over here, different colors that you can instantly change to. These are the pages of your website that you would create. So like you know, look at all these things that you can embed right here. So it takes some learning to do, for sure, but this is definitely something that you can figure out. I actually think it's a pretty cool tool to be able to use. The great thing about, you know, using a Google product, if you will, is that, you know, most of us use Google Suite for most of the things that we create, and it just kind of instantly goes in there. I've provided a tutorial for you. I've provided some templates for you. I don't think any of these templates are like earth-shattering, but it definitely shows you at least some of the things that you can do. So I think Google Sites is going to be a really good idea for most of us to be able to use. There is another site that I know of, is Wix. Again, this just kind of goes through and shows you the different things that you can do. It's the same kind of format, if you will. You're just kind of like selecting things and you know, dragging what it is that you want to use. But the same thing here, you basically just start with a home page, and you build and you build and you build. I have not used this website, just so you know. I have not used this tool. I don't know her, but I do know that it's free, or at least what I'm asking you to do is free. Okay. I know some of you are God bless you, are super into coding or whatever. One of you even did that for your college research project. You made your own website for me. You want to use these tools that Taylor and Burroughs and Shelby have given you, go for it. I can't help you whatsoever. So just make sure when you hit the go button, it actually works, okay? And then a bunch of tools over here for you. So this is just a quick Canva tutorial, just in case you don't remember Canva a lot. I went on it earlier and I even just put in zines, and look, a whole bunch of things kind of popped up right here. And again, the cool thing is that you can have these kind of like moving pieces in your website. If we even put in, oh, does textbook show up? Look at this, textbook templates. Okay, so we have other things that we can use here as well. So I think Canva is really great. I've been playing with Canva in my kind of downtime just because I think it's relaxing and makes something cute. But I know almost everybody used Canva for their infographics back with the CRAP project. So it's almost like you've been given some of these tools already. It's crazy. Now, to get to the different formats of writing that you have, I talked to my girl, Ms. Owsley. She's our journalism teacher, and she gave me a whole bunch of different resources here about how to kind of construct those very, they're not majorly different, but there are some subtleties in how you write a news article versus how you write an interview, right? So you're just going to click on each one of these. It takes you to a simplified slideshow that I made for you. You kind of go through each one and you just kind of start from there, right? So some of these elements I would expect to see in your writing, okay? These articles don't have to be perfect. What is major about these articles, and I'll get to this when we actually like have the assignment for the writing, is that it's still research writing. You're still using evidence. You're still introducing quotations. All of those things that we've been working on all year long, okay? So if you will remember, there's not technically any work due the week of the 11th, next week, but really your major job is to become familiar with this assignment, to become familiar with Google Sites or whatever you prefer, right? To start thinking of some of the things that you might want to include, and to start thinking about some of those pieces of writing that you're going to do. Okay, it's going to be, you're going to have about 2.5 weeks-ish to be working on at least the rough drafts of the writing, just so you know. And then there's not really a rough draft of the website itself. It's just due when it's going to be due. It's going to be due the end of May, just so you know, because I want to make sure that that's done before Memorial Day. All right, so just about a month to work on these two things right here. Be thinking about questions that you might have, and quote unquote in class this week, you're gonna list down some concerns, some ideas that you have on a Google form, and that way I can address them next week. All right, thank you so much. Have a great day.